What is going on, Internet? This is another video coming at you from Redskins Rant. Hail to the Redskins. Before we get started, please subscribe to this channel, hit the like button. If you like this video, leave comments down below for anything you agree, disagree with, whatever. Comments good for the algorithm, okay? What I'm going through today is I'm going through who I think will actually make the roster. Obviously, every one of these could change with either an injury or things like that. I'm going to have the actual rosters up here, so give me 2 seconds. I'll get the actual Redskins full roster. Because I did one a while back. I was looking at it a while back and did not have any of the up-to-date rosters on it. Okay, so I actually went through earlier and actually did this and wrote down the ones I think will make the roster. So I have two lists here. I have one that's the actual people who are on the roster, and the second list is the actual people I think will actually make the team. Okay, so I'm going to start with offense. Receivers. So here's who all was on the roster right now. By the way, if you hear any like weird noises, it's my cat. Hey, my cat is right there. She's walking around weird. So I don't know if you can see behind me or not. There's a door open. It is hot as hell in this room. So I have the windows open. I have two fans going, and I have my air conditioner running in the living room. And it's kind of cooling this room down a little bit. So that's why it's a little bit different look in here right now. Okay. Okay, so here's all the wide receivers we have on our roster at this moment. Isaiah Wright, Jester Way, Jordan Vesey, Steven Sims Jr., Cam Sims, Trey Quinn, Terry McLaurin, Cody Latimer, David Kinsey Jr., Jonathan Johnson, Emmanuel Hall, Kelvin Harmon, Antonio Gandy Golden. So that's actually a decent amount of receivers. I think we're going to end up keeping 5. And we're going to have one that's like a flex player, and I'll get to that here in a little bit. I think Isaiah Wright will make this team. I think Isaiah Wright will make the team. I think he'll be probably our 5th receiver. I think that's the best bet for him. He's a burner. He apparently has the speed to kind of be a home run hitter. We've had a couple of those. We have a couple of those on the roster. We actually have a couple right now. And that's like another point I'm going to get to in my video is I think we're going to be a lot better than people give us credit for. So I'm taking off my socks without having to actually reach for them. There we go. So Isaiah Wright, I think will make the roster. I think he'll be our 5th receiver. He's fast. He's not actually too bad on size. He's 6'2". So I think he'll actually make the roster. Okay. And here comes Cleo. This is Cleopatra. Cleopatra Bigglesworth. She's the coolest cat in the world. She also gets kind of annoying, but you know, she's the coolest cat in the world. So she may start chewing on stuff in the background, just ignore it. Jester Way. Don't think he's going to make the team. I do not see him making this roster at all. He's out of Pittsburgh. He's played for 1 year. I think he's just to fill a roster spot. Jordan Vesey. I don't think he'll make the roster at all. Steven Sims Jr. last year did enough to me to prove that he's worthy of a roster spot. He's one of our first home run hitters. There may be other home run hitters. I think Isaiah Wright has a potential to be one. But as of right now, Steven Sims Jr. is our first home run hitter. And he can take a 5-yard slant and take it to the house. He had a weird inside handoff last year, and he took it to the house on the Patriots, probably the best defense in the league last year. One of the best, at least. So it is definitely Steven Sims Jr. is going to be a good addition to this, or good part of this offense this year. Okay. Cam Sims, I think he's borderline. He could make the team as like the 6th receiver if we go 6, but I think we're going to go 5 and then like one other receiver in another spot. I do think there might be a practice squad spot available to him. Trey Quinn is another one that's borderline. I actually took Trey Quinn off to put Isaiah Wright on. I think the thing with Trey Quinn, I think he actually could make the team. The problem is this coaching regime did not draft him, so they don't have any loyalty to keeping him and making sure he produces. So they're not really all that concerned about making him better. So they're probably not going to keep him. Terry McLaurin is our 2nd home run hitter that we have on the offensive side of the ball. He can take a 5-yard slant to the house. He did it last year against the Eagles. He gets open a lot, and I'm going to get to some things about like what Haskins did last year. That's going to make him significantly better. Let's see if I can raise this up a little bit more. Nope, went down. Okay, I'll just get closer. So I don't think McLaurin's going to regress at all. I think when we start adding more weapons, McLaurin's actually going to get a lot more targets this year. I think with a steady quarterback and not like changing things mid-season. McLaurin almost got 1,000 yards receiving last year, and he didn't even have stability. Okay, Cody Latimer, I don't think will make this team after his legal issues. He is a big receiver, but I think they're going to go with more of these younger guys that are going to like be able to produce, and they're going to have to create things with them. So I think that's the route they're going to go. I don't think they're going to stick with him. Darvin Kinsey Jr. He'll play great in preseason, but there's something about him. He just never makes a team, so I don't think he's gonna make it. Jonathan Johnson, rookie receiver, apparently he's fast, so that might be a route we go. Woodnex, I don't think he'll make the team though. Kelvin Harmon, I think will make the team. I think he's going to make the team. I think he is definitely going to be like our fourth receiver. After I get through the next two. He's definitely going to be an intrinsic part of our weapon. He's our Anquan Bolden type. He is our possession receiver. That's what Kelvin Harmon is going to be. He will be like Pierre Garçon and get those tough 9-yard catches that get us a first down, or tough like 4-yard, got to catch it with a lot of contact and get a first down. Not to mention he's a very good blocker. So I'd be hard pressed to see if he does not make the team. Emmanuel Hall was borderline, but I don't think he'll make the team now because I think if I heard this correctly, I think he just ruptured his Achilles. So he probably isn't going to play this year for sure, and might not next year, and he might actually be done. I know Achilles rupture is like pretty much a career killer when it comes to sports, when it comes to Achilles. You just can't recover from it. You're never the same. Antonio Gandy Golden, wide receiver, 6'4", rookie, Liberty. X is one of the players I predicted we would draft. Antonio Gandy Golden, I think he will make the team for sure, and he will solidify our 5 wide receiver lineup. So that would leave us with number 1 receiver, I think, is going to be Terry McLaurin. Number 2, it depends on how you look at it. Slot receiver will be Steven Sims Jr. I think Antonio Gandy Golden and Kelvin Harmon will rotate at the other split wide receiver spot, and you have Isaiah Wright who will also be a slot receiver. Okay. I also see Antonio Gandy Golden potentially being put in the tight end spot in a couple of pass plays, just because he has that vertical building, he has such a big frame, he can actually get the ball. He's got a wide range. Excuse me. Okay, tight ends. Let's go to the next part, tight ends. So here's all the tight ends we have on the roster. Caleb Wilson, Logan Thomas, Jeremy Sprinkle, Richard Rodgers, Thaddeus Moss, Hal Henches, and Marcus Ball. Okay. I don't think Caleb Wilson will make this team. I just don't think he's good enough. I think Logan Thomas will probably make this team. I feel like this coaching staff is hell-bent on getting him on the team and getting him reps to get him acclimated. Jeremy Sprinkle, I feel Jeremy Sprinkle will barely make this team. He will be a borderline maker of this team. Richard Rodgers cannot stay healthy, so I don't see him being on this team. I really don't see him getting out of training camp. Thaddeus Moss, I see him making this team for sure. Him and Thomas are going to compete 1 and 2 to be our best tight end. Hal Henches, I actually think Hal Henches will make this roster. I think he'll be. So it just really depends on if the Redskins want to have 3 or 4 tight ends. If they have 4 tight ends, Hal Henches will make the roster, and Jeremy Sprinkle will make the roster, plus Thaddeus Moss and Logan Thomas. If it's only 3, it's going to be down to Jeremy Sprinkle and Hal Henches. And as much as we want to run the ball, we'll probably go the route of Jeremy Sprinkle. Just throwing it out there. But I actually didn't hate Hal Henches and how he played last year. And Marcus Ball will not make this team. Tackle. So all the tackles we have on our roster right now. Timon Paris, Morgan Moses, Cornelius Lucas, Jerron Christian Jr., and Shadiq Charles, and Paul Adams. I think this is pretty straightforward. 4 guys will make this team. Timon Paris will not make this team. Morgan Moses will make this team, and I don't think he'll start. I think he will actually back up Cornelius Lucas, who I think will make the team, and that'll be our right tackle spot with Morgan Moses backing him up. And then Shadiq Charles will be our left tackle with Jerron Christian backing him up. And we might still actually get another tackle in free agency. I think we get like Jason Peters or something. And Shadiq Charles can either sit behind him for like a couple games or whatever case may be. I'm going to mute that so it doesn't happen again. I'm actually downloading Madden. That's why I'm making this video. I'm killing time until I can actually get this video downloaded. So that's what I'm doing right now. Time to download Madden to play out some of these scenarios I'm talking about right now. And I don't think Paul Adams will make the team. I don't think Jerron Christian should make the team either, but we didn't draft enough offensive linemen. This is one of the issues I have with our undrafted free agency is there was a couple offensive linemen we could have heavily gone for, and for some reason we decided not to. I'm not going to get too much into that. Right now I'm going to go right to the guards. Actually, no, I'm going to jump to running back. Sorry, I just hit puberty in that sentence. Jesus, my voice cracked. Alright, so running backs. So here's all the running backs we have on our roster, which is why I didn't understand why we drafted one, but after I go through all this, and you're going to understand, I'll explain why I think we drafted one. Peterson, J.D. McKissick, Bryce Love, Darius Geis, Antonio Gibson, Josh Ferguson, and Peyton Barber. Okay, so I think we're gonna keep Adrian Peterson, and I'm just being honest. I'm just being bluntly honest, and it's nothing against Adrian Peterson. Is I don't think Adrian Peterson should be on this team. We're trying to go forward. We're trying to build for the future, and he's not a part of that. He's not a part of the future. If he plays this year, and he's going to take reps away from other running backs. So maybe that's what they want. Maybe they want to keep some of them healthy and just kind of give them like runs here and there, and just kind of figure out what they got. But yeah, Adrian Peterson, I don't see why he would be on that. Why we're so hell bent on keeping him. Okay, we have plenty of running backs on the squad. We can keep another running back that's actually younger and can last a lot longer than Adrian Peterson. Okay. J.D. McKissick, I think, will make this team. There's a reason why they went out and got him, is he is a good running back that can catch the ball in the backfield. Third down back is the best way to put it. Bryce Love, I think Bryce Love will make this team. I think he'll make the team if he's healthy, because if he's healthy, he's definitely talented. Okay, and he's definitely the right size running back you want. You want a 5'9" running back. You want a smaller running back size-wise, because the bigger they are, they get hit in. Like Adrian Peterson is a rare example. But like if they're over like 6 feet tall running backs, they get hit in the legs, and then the legs start going. Okay, and Bryce Love is 5'9", so he's not going to get hit in the legs as much because he's so small. Okay, Darius Geis, I think Darius Geis will make the team. And this is the other home run hitter that I said. Now there could be actually two other home run hitters here: Bryce Love, Geis, McKissick. All those guys have the capability of being home run hitters, but I'm more confident in Antonio Gibson right now than I am those three, just because of what he just did last year in college. I don't think Josh Ferguson will make this team, and I don't think Peyton Barber will make this team. I don't see it happening. Okay, so the refresh, the running backs: Adrian Peterson, McKissick, Geis. Antonio Gibson will actually be one of those, the hybrid one I was talking about, where he'll be a receiver and running back sometimes, and then Bryce Love, I think, will squeeze himself on this roster. Okay, running back or quarterbacks. Obviously, we got to keep Alex Smith. We can't cut him right now because Alex Smith, he's still on IR, and if we cut him, we spend so much money to cut, more money to cut him than it would be to keep him. So there's no point in cutting him. Next year we'll probably cut him, but he's technically on this roster. Dwayne Haskins will be on this roster, and I think he will start. Dwayne Haskins will start. I like his offseason work. I'm really excited to see how this plays out. But Dwayne Haskins is the guy I'm excited to see this year. And then Kyle Allen to be his backup. I want to reiterate something. This is not a Kyle Allen versus Dwayne Haskins competition for the job to start at quarterback for the Washington Redskins. They brought Kyle Allen in because this is what happened last year. Let's just give an example of what happened last year. Last year, the Washington Redskins got Case Keenum. Okay, they got Case Keenum, and they drafted Dwayne Haskins. Now, Colt McCoy already knew the offense, so they didn't have to train him. But Jay Gruden had to decide, okay, I can split time evenly with both these guys and make sure they know the offense, or I can focus on one or the other. So he focused on Case Keenum knowing the offense, and then left pretty much Haskins, to defend for himself. Like, hey, figure it out, you're on your own. And it wasn't a great strategy. The real reason I believe they brought in Kyle Allen was so they don't have to split the focus of teaching the offense to two different quarterbacks. Kyle Allen already knows the offense. He knows the terminology already. So they can focus 100% or at least 95% of their attention on Dwayne Haskins. So they don't have to worry about splitting time, coaching, teaching someone else. They could have brought in any other quarterback, and they brought in Kyle Allen for a reason. They traded for Kyle Allen. Okay, Steven Montez, I think, is actually going to be a decent quarterback. I think he actually might be a quarterback we can trade in the future, but I think he'll make our practice squad. So I really do think he will. All right, so next position is guards. Okay, so here's who all's on the roster. Jeremy Vucevic, yeah, that's his name. Wes Schweitzer, Brandon Sheriff, Wes Martin, and Michael Leditsky. I think we're going to keep 3 guards, and I'll explain why here in a minute. Wes Schweitzer, Brandon Sheriff, and Wes Martin. Brandon Sheriff and Wes Martin will start. Brandon Sheriff starts right guard, and Wes Martin will start left guard. Wes Schweitzer is not exactly a starter. He started a decent amount of games, but he's not starter caliber. He just has a lot of experience, and I think that's why the Redskins went out and got him. Center, and this is why, with center, this is the reason why I think we're only going to have 3 guards, is because we have 3 centers. Chase really, okay, let me go to the centers real quick, and I'll list all of them. Okay, so all 3 of the centers I think make this team. Chase Roulier, Ross Piersbacher, and Keith Ishmael. Chase Roulier will be our center. He will be our center, there's no questions about it. Ross Piersbacher, whatever he pronounces it as, will be a backup center / guard. He can back up for either side. Okay? And Keith Ishmael is the same exact way. He can back up for center or guard. So that's what I think they're going to do, is they have tons of offensive linemen across the board that they can actually plug and play in a couple different spots. Heck, if they're really desperate, they could probably play some of these guys at tackle if they needed to. But that's who I think will make the offense, or will round out the offense. And I actually don't think it's going to be a bad offense. So we have 3 home run hitters, and we have Terry McLaurin, Steven Sims Jr., and Antonio Gibson. Those are our home run hitters. It's like they can take a 5-yard slant and take it to the house if they just get a step on somebody. Those are our home run hitters. We have other guys that are just going to be good, fundamental football players, and I think Haskins is going to improve to the point. And I'll get to more on why I think we're going to be extremely much better team this year than people anticipate. Let me get to the defense now. So defense, I'm going to start with cornerbacks. So cornerbacks, we actually have a lot of cornerbacks. And let's start with, I'm going to just list all the defensive backs. Simon Thomas, Maurice Smith, Jeremy Reeves, Jimmy Moreland, Greg Stroman, Fabian Monroe, Danny Johnson, Kendall Fuller, Ronald Darby, and Aaron Colvin. Okay? So I think what we're going to end up keeping is we're obviously going to keep Kendall Fuller. Okay? I think we're going to keep Jimmy Moreland. I think those are our 2 for sures. And then you have a lot of question marks at the next 3. The next question mark, I would say, cat hair on me. The next question mark I'd say is Ronald Darby. Can he stay healthy? If he can stay healthy, he's probably going to start because he's a pretty decent player when he's healthy. Okay? Danny Johnson is someone that has actually had a pretty decent season. Had a decent season last year. So I think he will be a player that we stick with. And I think Fabian Monroe actually started having some good games last year when he was playing. The problem with that is we have like pretty much 3 guys that play the slot position, and they're best at slot position. Jimmy Moreland's best playing slot. Kendall Fuller, he was the best we had at playing slot when he played here, and then Fabian Monroe. So maybe we have a little bit more talent here than I considered, but I think that I think it's just come down to I think the 5 I picked are the ones they're going to go with. They might go with 6. It's possible, but I doubt it. Safeties. So safeties, already mentioned a couple guys. Jeremy Reeves is one of the defensive backs I think will actually be a safety. I think he actually didn't do too bad in preseason last year. You have, let's say all of our safeties here. You have Landon Collins. you have Sean Davis, Cameron Curl, DeShazier Everett, and Troy Apke. I don't see Troy Apke and DeShazier Everett making this team. I don't. It's possible that maybe they just improved that much in the offseason. It's completely possible. I'd like to see Troy Apke become something, but what are you going to do? Okay? So Troy Apke, I'd like to see him be something great. He's got good speed, but for some reason, he just can't play very well. He just doesn't play very well. DeShazier Everett's had years to get it figured out, and he just doesn't play well. He's a good special teamer, but he doesn't figure it out. We drafted Cameron Curl for a reason. There's also another linebacker we drafted that they might actually consider playing at the safety position. Khaliki Hudson. They might actually play him at safety. He was kind of like a bounce around to do whatever Michigan needed. And I think they might play him at safety. I ain't gonna guarantee that. There's so many options they have at linebacker and such like that we really don't know. We are really in the dark on how good or bad our secondary guys are and what we're gonna do when it comes to our secondary. We're really in the dark on how they're gonna handle that. So I've given my prediction though. Jeremy Reeves, Landon Collins, Sean Davis, and Cameron Curl. There's a reason why they drafted Cameron Curl. I think they're gonna want to hang on to him and try to develop him. And not to mention, what's his name? Ron Rivera is known for drafting secondary guys late and turning them into very good players. Okay. Defensive tackle. So let me get down to the defensive tackle spot. Defensive tackle. We have a handful of guys on the defensive tackle spot. Tim Settle. Drawn Payne. Matt Ioannidis. Caleb Brantley. Jonathan Allen. Okay, this is pretty straightforward. Tim Settle, Drawn Payne, Matt Ioannidis, Jonathan Allen. Those are the four defensive tackles that we're going to have. And we're probably going to rotate them in and out of the game very consistently. We could probably go, if we really wanted to have like a really good running defensive front. And those wouldn't help with passing as much, but I think it could do pretty well. We could literally start Tim Settle, we could start Drawn Payne, Jonathan Allen, put Matt Ioannidis at defensive end, Ryan Kerrigan another defensive end, and then Chase Young and Montez Sweat an outside linebacker. And we would have the best defensive front. There's no one would run on that. And that's not going to help with passing that much because you're taking your two best pass rushers out of that. But on like first downs early in the game, that might be the best. That might be the best possible defensive line you could do because no one's gonna be able to block all that. In a defensive line or a goal line, you gotta have Tim Settle, Drawn Payne, Matt Ioannidis, and Jonathan Allen. 4 down linemen. You're not gonna be able to block those 4 with only 5 guys. You're gonna need 6 or 7. Then you're gonna free other guys up. Our red zone defense is gonna be insane this year if they do the things that I just suggested. Defensive end, obviously Chase Young, Montez Sweat, Kerrigan, and Nate Orchard. They might go to another route and go with somebody else. They did just draft a guy out of North Carolina State. I think that was a wasted draft pick because he's not going to make the team. But I think that's who they'd go for. They might go for Jordan Brailford. They might keep somebody else. It's possible. I doubt it, though. I doubt it very seriously. Linebacker. Linebacker is so up in the air. I'm not going to give like a prediction on what linebackers we actually keep. This is so out there on what we could do with linebackers. There's so many options. We have so many players, and we actually have less need for as many as we did last year. Last year we played, and we had so many we had so many linebackers. We played a 4 linebacker set last year. We don't even have that this year. We have a 3 linebacker set. So here's who all we have right now on our roster. We have Kevin Pierre-Louis, Jared Norris, Khaliki Hudson, Cole Holcomb, Josh Harvey-Clemens, Sean John Hamilton, Reuben Foster, Thomas Davis, John Bostic, Ryan Anderson, and is there any more? No. Okay, that's it. So that's all of our linebackers. Now, here's what I think the Redskins should do when it comes to who starts where. If everyone's healthy and you're just going with your best 3 linebackers, you need to go Ryan Anderson, Reuben Foster, and Cole Holcomb. That gives you the best combination of young talent and building for the future. I think Cole Holcomb is fast and he's good at covering. Ryan Anderson came into his own last year. He's actually started becoming the player we drafted. And Reuben Foster, we've yet to see play. But I'm actually kind of encouraged to see what he could be if he's comes off an injury and he's healthy. Okay? So, who we're going to have beyond that, I have no flipping idea. I don't think we should keep Thomas Davis Jr. I think he's too old, but I think they'll keep him for a locker room presence. I don't think John Bostic would be the best fit, although he's not a horrible fit because he is an adequate player, but he can't stay on one roster for some reason. He's not making a lot of money for a reason. He's on our team for a reason. We got him super cheap last year, and we renewed him for a super cheap deal this year. Sean Deon Hamilton, Josh Hart Clemens are both options that are not horrible when it comes to linebacker. Okay? Kevin Pierre-Louis, we signed him for a reason from the Chicago Bears. There's a reason for that. But I don't know enough about all these players to make an accurate prediction on who will be on the roster. I think we're going to keep Kaliki Hudson for sure. I think, for some reason, I have a feeling Thomas Davis Sr. And I think what the best thing we'll do is to put the most good talent on the field at once. Is they're probably going to rotate Young and Sweat in some of the linebacker spots rather than putting a lesser talent on the field and then making sure they can put Ioannidis, Payne, and Allen on the field more with Sweat, with Young, with Kerrigan, so on and so forth. I think that's probably going to be their best bet. So now, why do I think the Redskins are going to be better than people think? Well, if you look through I'm going to bring up the Redskins schedule for Redskins 2020 schedule. Okay? So, last year. First off, I think coaching is going to be a big deal this year. Coaching is going to be something that's going to be very different for us this year. I think having a better coach and having someone who actually is instilling discipline, it's complete. I think just the simple mindset is different. Okay? Like, I'll give you an example. My job, I manage for AT&T. And the store that I was in before didn't have a lot of CRUs. CRUs were business lines. They weren't selling TVs. It's a mindset. The mindset before I got there is that it can't be done. You can't sell it at this store because yada, yada, yada. All these excuses in the world. I got there. We were hitting our targets. We're hitting all those things that can be done. It's a mindset. Okay? It's a mindset. People are showing up for work, excited about playing football for the Redskins. They're not just showing up for a paycheck. I think Dan Snyder, he needs to get a... I hate saying... I know people are going to hate me saying this. I don't hate saying it because it's how I feel. This is honestly how I feel. I'm very proud of the fact that Dan Snyder has taken a step back. He's let Ron Rivera run the team, and he's taken a step back, and he's let it happen. He's let all these things happen. And I think Ron Rivera... I think the team this year is going to be better than anticipated. And I think we might actually win the division and make the playoffs at least. So, Redskins playing the Eagles. Let me tell you why I think they're going to be better first, and I'll go over this schedule. Okay, so first off, we have a lot of weapons on offense. We have a plethora of running backs that we can run. If you want to just get positive yards every time and have smart run plays, you have Peterson. We're going to have Geis who can just run people over. We're going to have Bryce Love, if he's healthy, is very fast and he's good at hitting the holes. And you have Antonio Gibson who catches the ball in the backfield. There's a lot of different things that are going to cause... Pardon me. There's a lot of different things that are going to cause our offense to do well because not only can we have a lot of good running in the game, but we're going to have a better passing attack than we did last year. Because this year, we have 3 home run hitters in the passing game. McLaurin, Sims, and Antonio Gibson. We actually have, I wouldn't say we have great tight ends, but we have better tight ends than we had last year. Logan Thomas and Moss alone are much greater improvement than what we had last year. And then if you keep going with our receiving core, we have Harmon, good possession receiver. We have Antonio Gandy-Golden, another good possession receiver who's going to... There's too much talent there for anyone to think, like, okay, we can just take away one thing and the rest of it's going to be bad. No, there's way too much talent there. Way too much talent there. And I think Haskins has worked his butt off this offseason to make sure that we're not going to look at him and say he's the reason why we suck this year. Okay? So I don't think that's going to... I think we're going to have a very cohesive team. I think we're going to have a lot of things going our way this year. And here's why I think we're going to do well as well. I think our offense is going to do a lot better than people think. I was on a group chat with other Redskin fans. They think that Haskins will get sacked a lot. It's definitely possible. He's definitely, it's possible he could get sacked a lot. That's definitely in the realms of possibility. But I don't think that's going to be the case. And the reason why I don't think that is because a lot of teams are not going to want to get behind on us. So they're not going to try to bring the house and and risk Haskins getting like throwing the ball with a blitz coming and then someone taking the ball to the house. So they're not going to want to risk that. And if they get down, then they have to deal with our defensive front and Haskins and Sweat and Ioannidis and Kerrigan and Payne and Jonathan Allen all coming after the quarterback. I don't think teams want to do that. So I think a lot of teams are going to be a lot more conservative when it comes to playing against the Redskins' offense, and they're not going to blitz that much. I don't think they're going to bring as much pressure as people think. And I think that's going to be an advantage for us because we're going to have the ability. I think Haskins is going to be allowed to pick teams apart. I think we'll be able to run the ball better because teams aren't bringing pressure. I think that there's a lot of things that are going to snowball from that because people do not want to get down against us. If we let's just throw a hypothetical out there. So nice little hypothetical. Let's say the first game of the year we play the Eagles. Eagles bring the house and we hit McLaurin on a slant. And he takes to the house just like he did. The second time we played them last year. Okay, now we're up 7-0. They might come down and get a field goal or something, and then in the very next possession, something like that happens where they're trying to blitz, and we take the ball to the house again, and now we're up 14-3 going into midway through the second quarter, and they can't run the ball, so now they're forced to pass, and now Carson Wentz, who's a very injury-prone quarterback, who doesn't have great receivers on his team, is now forced to throw the ball a lot, and he doesn't exactly have the greatest receiving weapons at all. The best receiving weapon he has is a tight end. So it's not going to be like a black and white, we're not going to be able to throw much because the quarterback's going to be pressured. No, I think our quarterback's going to be fine, and I think because of how good our defense is, that did not come out right. Okay, because of how good our defense is, I think we're going to have a much better situation when it comes to our offense. And because our offense is going to be able to score, it's going to put our defense in a much better spot than it's done in the last 3 or 4 years. I think those two things are going to be two key things that are going to make it so we can, be an effective offense and still have an elite top 10 defense. By the offensive strategy fitting the needs of the defense. Defense, we can get up, and defense can just go after the quarterback, get blitzes, force turnovers, things like that. Okay? Now, some people might think that's actually not a good idea because we don't have great corners. That's true, we don't. But if we're in a situation where teams are running on us and they're one-dimensional, I think that's going to make our corners a lot better. Okay? So if I go through our schedule, can we beat the Eagles? Absolutely. Twice last year we were beating them with a lesser team that we have right now. We were beating them twice last year. First game of the year, we were crushing them first half. And then we let it go, and we still had a chance to win at the end. And then the second time we played them, we were close the whole game. And Haskins, I don't blame him for that play. The coach called timeout. As a rookie quarterback, I don't blame him. But we were close to beating them second time. Cardinals. Can we beat the Cardinals? Absolutely. They don't have a great defense. They have a young quarterback. The offensive line's not that great. So there's definitely things I think the Redskins can do to they can do to beat the Cardinals. So there's 2 potential wins right there. Browns absolutely can beat the Browns. I think Browns are actually the toughest challenge of those first 3 games because they've invested a lot of money and time in the offensive line. I think their defense is pretty stout. The question is Baker Mayfield goes back to what he was his rookie year or is what he was last year? It just depends. Ravens, I think we're actually going to do better against Ravens than people think. A lot of times you have running quarterbacks have a good year and then they gradually decline because people figure them out. Personal opinion, I don't think the Ravens have a lot of great receivers, so I think that's going to be a part of it. I think they're still going to be a good team. I think they're going to have a good solid defense, but I think there's just going to be a little bit of a decline. Rams, we 100% can beat the Rams. Okay? So in the first 5 games, I have literally 2 games where I think we that we're definitely going to be an uphill battle winning against the Ravens and the Browns because of how good they are. But Eagles aren't super great, Cardinals aren't super great, and definitely the Rams aren't super great. So we can definitely win all 5, but I'd say we're going to be 2-3 or 3-2 in that slot. So then we go to the next part of our schedule. We have the Giants, the Cowboys, and the Giants. I think we win all 3 of them. I think Giants are, I don't want to say a shoe-in, but I think there's definitely the possibility of beating the Giants both times. I do not think they've improved at all. I think they're more dysfunctional than we are right now. Okay, they've gone through 3 coaches in 3 years. I mean, if you want to get technical, we have 2. We had a Jay Gruden, an interim coach, now Ron Rivera. But I don't think we're as unstable as the Giants are right now. And in the Lions. So there's 4 games right there I think we win. We could lose the Cowboys, but in those 4 games, we can win. So let's say we go 3-1. So now we can be potentially 6-3 or 5-4, something like that. So there's 9 games out of the way, and we're doing decently well when it comes to competing with these teams. And we're right into the mix of things. And at the very best, I think we can win all these games up to this point. We definitely can. After that, Bengals. Bengals are definitely a beatable team. So right there, at 10 games, we could easily be at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7-3, with losses to the Ravens, the Browns, and the Cowboys in our first 10 games. We can beat the other 3. We can beat the other 7. We can definitely beat the Eagles. We can beat the Cardinals. I went ahead and said we lost to the Browns. I went ahead and said we lost to the Ravens. We can definitely beat the Rams. We can definitely beat the Giants twice. We can beat the Lions, and we can beat the Bengals. It's 10 games, and we would lose to the Cowboys, the Ravens, and Browns. I think that's very feasible. We could do that. Okay? So we'd be 7-3, and then we go through what I call the gauntlet. The gauntlet would be the Cowboys, the Steelers, and the 49ers. Cowboys, we're going to split with them, I think, this year. So I think this might be one of the ones we win. This is on Thanksgiving. So I hope so. That would make my Thanksgiving so much better. Okay? Steelers, I'm actually going to be at this game. I actually have tickets to it. My whole family's going. I think it's a winnable game. I mean, it just depends on if Ben Roethlisberger's good Ben or bad Ben. It just depends. And I think if the Redskins are on, at that point in the season, the Redskins are on 11-4 or 11-3. I think not 11. I'm sorry, 8-3. If they're 8-3 at that point, they're 11 games in, 8-3. Yeah, I think the Redskins got a good chance of winning that game, but I think they're gonna lose. I think they'll lose Steelers or 49ers, but I don't count us out of those games. Last year we only lost to the 49ers by 9, and we were in the game. Granted, there was a weather, but I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is that great a quarterback. I think he's way overrated. I think his coach is much better than people suspect. But I don't think for a second that 49ers are unbeatable. I don't think that Steelers are either. But I think we lose both those games. So at that point, we would be 8-5. And then we have our last 3 games. Seahawks are definitely beatable. They have a really good quarterback, but I think they're definitely beatable. We have Panthers, I think, for certain are beatable. Okay, so if we just split with those 2, now we're 9-6. And then going into the Eagles game, we can be playing for the division, we can play for a wild card spot, and we're at 9-6 at that point. So I think it's definitely possible that we could definitely be in a good spot to be like 10-6 or 10-6, 9-7, potentially 11-5 this season, because no one on our schedule is, I would say, this is just going to blow us out of the water. I think we have an offense that can go against anyone. I think I have a defense that can hold teams down until our offense figures itself out. And I don't think it's going to take that long. I think Haskins is doing a great job this offseason of building himself and the people around him in inspiring leadership. I think that's something that's very important. Now, he did decent last year. And I want to entice everyone to do this. I encourage everyone to do this. Go back and watch. And there's a video on YouTube. You can go watch. I can literally just type it in. Redskins 2019 games. And there's a bunch of games that are available to watch highlights of. One for sure is the 49ers game, but the one I'm referring to more or less is there's a game against the Lions that you can watch. You can also watch the Carolina game. The Lions game, Haskins actually found a lot of people open in this game. A lot of people open in this game. Let me type in full games. There we go. He found a lot of people open in this game. He just didn't throw it accurate. Okay? He didn't throw it accurate. I'm looking at it right now. It's Dwayne Haskins' first win, Lions versus Redskins. Week 12, 2019, full game. 2 hours and 22 minutes. Watch it. I can go through in the first quarter alone. I can count. He found guys open. He just overthrew it. And I think that's footwork. There's a nice video out there. It shows that if he'd had better footwork, he'd have been a lot more successful in a lot of different situations. The Packer game, he actually had a decent amount of footwork too. And you can just see the progression throughout the season. There's a couple other games in here as well. So I highly recommend going out and watching it. But, for the most part, watch the Lions game for sure. And then if you can, try to find a condensed game of like the Eagles and the Giants. If you watch him from the Lions, or from like when he started until the end of the season, he definitely got better. And we didn't start going against worse teams. We started going against, like, I guess Giants were a lesser team than the Eagles, but the Eagles he actually played pretty well in. So I'm not going to go too much into that anymore. I just want to go through this part for my video, and I hope everyone enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. Who do you think will start at what your favorite position? Who's your dark horse to make the team? What do you think the Redskins are going to do this year? I think the Redskins, like I said, are going to be somewhere around the 9-7 to 10-11-5 mark. They're going to be right around that. They're going to be above 500. At the very least, they're going to be 500. But I think they'll be like right above 500. All right. Well, let me know what you think. Hail to the Redskins. Please hit that like button and subscribe to this channel. See you.